Welcome, dear fiends of the den, where shadows speak louder than headlines, and every whisper begs to be cross examined. This is the lair of Rose Noir, unmonetized, unsponsored, and unapologetically unfiltered. I am your underground icon. Here, news and conspiracy theories tango in the dark, hatch strange offspring in my brain, and slither out through my mouth. No ads, no allegiance, just raw nature, forensic fury, and a hunger for justice that doesn't sleep. If you want to keep the lights dim and the truth loud, your donations keep the blood pumping. The PayPal link is in the bio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Hello, dear fiends of the den. We are back, and today is Conspiracy Theory Thursday. So, I am talking the conspiracy theory of my favorite trilogy of movies, Back to the Future. Robert Zemeckis is either a visionary or possibly a time traveler himself because he has given us some very interesting parallels between Marty McFly, Biff Tannen, Doc Brown, the past, the present, and the future. So let's dive. I'm honestly going to have to do this one in a few parts because there is so much. This would be the longest episode ever. But the Back to the Future trilogy has given us a 9/11 theory. Now, so many people have noticed this even before it came out on the internet. But if you are an eagle eyed fan, you'll know that in the first movie, Marty McFly goes to meet Doc Brown in the parking lot at the Twin Pines Mall at 1:16 a.m. And they do this whole experiment, and then the terrorists show up and they talk about the uranium, and he thinks Doc Brown died, but he didn't. This whole thing happens. But after the incident of time travel, there is an altered timeline. He comes back to the Lone Pines Mall at 1:16 a.m. And if you flip 1:16 a.m. upside down, it's 9/11. And upside down means something may have fallen, like the Twin Towers, and now we have the Lone Freedom Tower. So I think that really it was trying to tell us something, because why would a movie be about time travel that has the time 1:16 in it that's there forever? And then these twin pines become these lone pines. Now, here's the weirdest part is in 2015, years later, Robert Zemeckis, same director as the trilogy of that I'm talking about here, he had a movie called The Walk. Now, The Walk is like visually stunning, and it is just very emotionally resonant, and it dramatizes the true story of Philippe Petit, who was the French high wire artist who performed an illegal walk between the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in 1974. Now, the other thing, if you want to talk about the Twin Towers, is in the second movie, the second Back to the Future movie, when Marty walks into his future house and he's seeing his son, his daughter, himself as an older person, and his parents are there. And George McFly is in traction, so he is floating upside down from this, futuristic backtraction contraption that I could honestly use these days myself. And it's past 2015. So we thought we were going to have all of these things. But what happens is at one point, George McFly floats into a room and he wants to watch TV. And he turns on the television, and what you see is New York City, the skyline, the Statue of Liberty, and the TV is malfunctioning. But the direction of the camera flips to George McFly's view, so he's seeing everything upside down, and it looks like New York City and possibly the Twin Towers are falling. So it's very interesting that, we don't know where Hilldale is, but, at one point it was called Helldale because of the timeline change, and that was with Biff Tannen. And that's what I want to get to on the next Conspiracy Theory Thursday, because it is a really interesting parallel to what's happening today, and it has to do with that almanac. But the 9/11 theory in and of itself is just mind blowing, because Twin Pines and then Lone Pine Mall, Twin Towers and then Lone Freedom Tower. I don't know, but it's definitely one for the den. So I'd love to know what you guys think of the Back to the Future trilogy. I'd love to know what you think of these conspiracy theories, and we're going to go more into these theories because, like I said, I love this trilogy and I love the symbolism in it, and the third movie in and of itself is just so much to explore. That wraps it all up. But the first two leave so many clues, not just within each other to tie those two movies together and bring the third movie, but with what's happening today, is where we are today in this timeline. Did that have something to do with the story from the 80s, from Back to the Future? We have no idea. But Back to the Future, like The Simpsons, has some eerie parallels. And with that, you guys, thank you for joining me in the den, my dear fiends. Don't forget, because I bring you the truth, the den has been demonetized, and it's a signal from the shadows. So if you'd like to support the dark entertainment and Rose Noir's investigations, you can do so by tipping the detective. The paypal.me link is in the bio. Again, thank you so much for joining me in the den. If you've got something to say, send me an email at welcometothedenpodcast@gmail.com.